So today is World Teachers' Day, and we certainly celebrate it, but it's also important to recognize the critical role that teachers play in our society. They're responsible for educating and shaping the minds of our future generations, and their work is crucial to the success of our communities, and most importantly, to the success of our country. However, despite the significance of teachers in breaking the cycle of poverty, inequality, and social injustice in South Africa, this profession still remains in crisis. It is projected that by 2030, Africa's school-age population will increase by 5.6%, with more teachers needed to meet the growing demand and also replace those retiring or leaving the profession. Well, for more on this, we are joined by Doctor Corrin Varady. He's the CEO of IDEA. It's an education tech platform. And Mokolwane Eric Masweneng. He, of course, is an educator. It's wonderful to have both of you, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. So, Mokolwane, because it is Teachers' Day, I want to personally wish you and thank you for the work that you do. So happy Teachers' Day. And I suppose let me begin with you, because it really is vital to recognize the essential role that teachers play in our society and to celebrate the commitment and dedication on this World Teachers' Day. How can we ensure that teachers have the support that they need or that you need to do your job effectively?
Good morning, Leanne. Good morning to the viewers at home. Thank you, Leanne, for wishing us a happy Teachers' Day. And it is quite important for us to know that teachers need to be respected. Teachers need to be recognized for the steady work that they are doing. Because if we do not do so, we will be doing injustice to the future generations of this country and the world, because teachers are the pillars of society. So it is quite important for teachers to be respected and honored.
It certainly is, and sometimes you'll find that teachers, unfortunately, don't get the support that they need. Dr. Varady, let me ask you, I mean, when we see the deteriorating numbers of teachers that are going into the profession and those that are perhaps not qualified enough or those that are not given that assistance, where does the problem lie?
I think it's a very complex one, and I think it's shaped by many inputs, some of that you've named. We don't have enough teachers coming in. We have a growing population of students. We have some qualification gaps, so we're dropping subjects, which is not obviously then helping the throughput rates when it comes to, say, technical subjects and teachers being created. But I do want to take note that our teachers should be seen as our medical professionals were during the pandemic. We're in an education crisis. We know our results are not good, but our teachers are actually our heroes. They're the ones at the front line that make all the change. And so if we don't focus on looking at this as a crisis and we just continue to plod along thinking that in the next 5 to 10 years it'll fix itself, we're going to find that not only do we not have enough teachers, but we don't have teachers in particular subject areas that we critically need.
Yeah, and I mean there are so many areas when we look at when we look at the issue of working conditions and remuneration, and I'm going to stay with you here, Dr. Varady, in terms of those two issues as well. You know, you are given such an important job, and yet when you look at the remuneration and you look at the resources that are given towards teachers that dedicate their lives to uplifting children, it just doesn't weigh up.
Yeah, it's a challenge. Look, budgets are a challenge, I guess, and particularly at the moment, we're seeing that there are, it's probably not going to get better when it comes to these issues around remuneration. It's why we're losing a lot of teachers to overseas schools, because the good South African teachers are being nabbed by higher paying developed countries. We've got to incentivize our teachers to stay. And the only way we can do that is through job satisfaction, through increasing their professional development, giving them all of the aspects that every other sector gives to its employees. Teachers are also owed the same to be able to stay. And if we don't do that, then I think we're going to see teachers going away, and purely from an income point of view.
All right, so I don't want to only talk doom and gloom, because what we're going to do here as well is celebrate an individual that is on the screen, and not you, Dr. Varady, and certainly not me. We're going to celebrate this amazing man that we have with us, who is a learner, he is one of the teachers. He's an educator that has been selected. Listen to this, South Africa. He has been selected as in the shortlist of the top 50 that is in line to win $1 million for the Global Teacher Prize of 2023. And I'm talking about none other than Mokolwane Masweneng, who is joining us now. He is an English teacher in the rural areas where everything we've spoken about, lack of resources, the ability to try and reach and teach young learners is a very difficult thing. And yet we have a living example of somebody who is doing it. So we have to celebrate you, and we have to ask you, how do you do it? How do you do your job so brilliantly? And we know you do it brilliantly against all of these challenges that we've spoken about.
Well, thank you, Leanne. A teacher is a lifelong learner. I just want to tell you that in rural areas, it's quite difficult, like you were saying, very, very difficult under the extreme difficult conditions. Since network, it's a problem in our area. Since I am teaching language in the area where Sepedi is the only dominant language that exists, and there are limited resources, then I am not calling this hard work. I am not calling this commitment. I am not calling this dedication. I am calling it responsibility. I am executing and exercising my responsibility. I am duty bound to make sure that I create the world that I wish to see. I create South Africa that I want to see. I create a better place that every single individual that comes out of my hands becomes a global citizen who is competent, who is able to challenge any situation. So working in rural areas is quite difficult, but I am extraordinarily working under those conditions and making sure that I uplift the life of a black child through exercising my responsibility as an educator.
Mokolwane, just you speaking is inspiring me. I love what you've said there. That clip is something that I wish we could play over and over again, because I just think that you have nailed what being a teacher is all about. And I need to add that you've been chosen from, there were 7,000 nominations from 130 different countries, and you are one of 2 South African teachers that's been shortlisted. So I want to ask you, you know, I know you've told us what your commitment is, but you focus specifically on young girls as well, because you don't want to see teenage pregnancies. You want to see young girls getting ahead in life, getting a career, and getting a great life going for themselves. How do you instill this into the young girls, particularly in the rural areas where, you know, sometimes you feel that, you know, you're never going to get out of there, but you teach that you can, anything is possible?
Well, Leanne, you would understand that when you are in rural areas, particularly my village, where a girl child is beyond the mountains, they don't see beyond the area that I'm living in. And then I have undertaken it upon myself to make sure that I educate them. And in educating them, we must dispel the myth of patriarchy that is existing, so that a girl child could be able to stand out for herself. A girl child should be able to put education as the weapon for success, and to make sure that they do not depend on anyone for survival. That is what I'm trying to do. And this love of girl child education did not start yesterday. It started way back in 2008 when I started a ladies soccer team, where I was coaching them, training them, and at the same time would bring them at home to camp in my own house and educate them. So it is my responsibility to make sure that we create competent girls. And I was inspired when I was at Wits University, where I saw a lot of students being female, a lot of academics being female. And I said to myself, I must take this back home to make sure that I'm going to create the same professions, the same academics from my very own community. so that they'll be able to stand out and be competent in the world.
Mokolwane, you're amazing. You really are. You know, Dr. Varady, doesn't this just sort of put a smile on your face? Because they do exist. You know, these incredible chosen individuals like we're joined with here that are doing the most incredible things. I mean, I ask you, Dr. Varady, I mean, Minister Angie Motshekga, you know, said or recognizes the need for teachers' professional development. She does. She's spoken about it. But if we had to look at the specific steps that need to be taken to ensure that teachers have access to training and the resources that they need, not everybody is driven by this passion. A lot of people need those other things that are going to help them in their profession.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the majority, 99% of teachers love what they do, are well-intended and are trying to change the lives of young people. I just think we're here today with someone who is doing it at the best of the best. But, you know, this idea that there are teachers who are lazy or that they are not wanting to engage with their profession, it's simply unfair. Professional development models have not really come very far in the last 20 to 30 years. And I think that's an indictment on us in the education sector, because we're not making professional development engaging, and certainly not as engaging as we're trying to make the students learning. So we have to really bring it up to speed, and we have to understand, what do teachers want to be able to improve? What do they need, and what does job satisfaction look like? Certainly the minister has committed to increasing the commitment to professional development, but I actually think it's about changing the mindset of how we do that. So big workshop sessions late afternoon for teachers who have just taught very large classes of students of disparate abilities and paces is a real challenge. Being a teacher in this post-pandemic world is really not an easy thing. And so I think we need to be giving teachers enough of a voice to be asking and telling what they would like to see from professional development, rather than sort of forcing what we believe works in traditional models. And that's where technology and teacher are not a trade-off with one another. If anything, that they actually should be unified together, so that we're bringing a more democratic approach to professional development to our teachers.
Yeah, amazing, Dr. Varady. I want to end this with our hero of the morning, but in fact there are two of you, because you're both contesting this amazing prize from the Vaki Foundation Global Teacher Prize for 2023, that $1 million prize, which is huge. It really is. The second one is Mariette Wheeler, a science teacher at Protea Heights Academy in Cape Town. And Mokolwane, you are at Doctor Twaneng Senior Secondary School at Mpanana in Limpopo. So we need to give a shout out to this village that you're teaching in. If you win this money, what happens? What, will you buy a yacht and sail around the world, or will you continue to teach? What do you plan on doing? Let's dream together.
Well, my dream is very big, of transforming South Africa and the world. I wish I could be the winner, so that I'll be able to build a school that will cater for the needs of a girl child, especially girls who are from families where parents are normal, so that we'll be able to take good care of them and ensure that they receive quality education, so that will be competent as well, so that they will be able to become global citizens. I am looking forward to making sure that I will build a school that will cater for the needs of orphans, especially girls.
That would be amazing. And you will hear the results on what day?
It's around the 8th of November.
About the 18th of November. All right. We're thinking of you.
8th.
Oh, the 8th of November.
Yes.
Okay. I'm putting that in my diary. We're thinking of you. We're wishing you the best of luck. Please send all our love to the young girls and boys that you are teaching. And thank you so much for being with us, both of you. It's been a pleasure talking to Doctor Corrin Varady, the CEO of IDEA and educator, Mokolwane Eric Masweneng, who is a teacher coming up for the Global Teacher Award, which we'll hear about on the 8th of November. Thank you to both of you, just talking about issues affecting teachers. And also, by the way, today is also a big award ceremony. It's the 23rd National Teaching Awards happening in Pretoria, and our Deputy President is going to be presiding over those awards, where we'll be celebrating incredible teachers in South Africa. So that's what will be happening today.